Good evening, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to Cinderella Slippers. We are back after what was a very long wait of me anticipating what was going to happen in terms of graduation and having a very, not to really say bad year, but a very hard year in 2024. And I thought I would make more content around the end of November, beginning of December. It all flooded on me again. And I thought to myself, oh, you know what? I'm actually going to record this now more than later. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to start recording on this podcast for multiple reasons, including figuring school out, work out, finding jobs, all that good stuff that comes in to navigating your 20s. So if you don't hear from me, especially during this time where college basketball is really ramping up, you're going to hear from me now. And I am so glad to be back. The LinkedIn newsletters, we have an edition coming out on Wednesday, so look out for that on my LinkedIn page. Also, please make sure to comment and like, subscribe to YouTube. This is huge for me because now we've got weeks away until March Madness, and I kept figuring out, what am I going to do with this podcast? What's the tradition of this podcast? And what's the tradition of keeping things in the middle? Well, I do have an announcement on that. But first, let's just talk about some college basketball first and reintroduce myself again. My name is Braden Bear, and welcome back to Keeping Things in the Middle's Cinderella Slippers podcast. As you can tell, we have a brand new intro song. The last intro song got completely banned from YouTube, and I couldn't monetize on it. So now we just have this great new audio that I did find on Envato.com. So we have a good mix of basketball and sports in that intro, which I really like. But yeah, welcome everyone to the Cinderella Slippers podcast. We got a lot to talk about, including JUCO basketball, NAIA basketball. Their playoffs are coming up very soon. Division III and Division II basketball. But first, let's do the 30-minute minute. Let's do the 30-minute minute and talk a little bit about Division I basketball first, and then we will work our way throughout the rest of this pod talking about other aspects of basketball. To start off, we want to thank you for listening first and foremost. I get it's been a very long time since I've been on here again. I think it was since December I haven't met. I was going to do an edition. I think I did do an edition in December that during the traveling overseas and all those tournaments that take place early on in the season. Big games tonight on Tuesday, February 18th. Michigan State was able to outlast the Purdue Boilermakers and basically keep their right for second place in the Big Ten Conference. And that was a big win for Michigan State, 75-66. It was about a week or two since they lost to Indiana, and now Purdue is going to be heading up. It's going to be heading down south to Bloomington, Indiana, facing the Indiana Hoosiers in what will be one of the more better matchups of the year. But Purdue may run away with it, and it's might not be close. Just as someone who goes to IU and someone who's about to graduate from there, I will tell you that Purdue doesn't have anything left in the tank to not pull off a win against IU. They really could do it, and I think they will do it. Unfortunately, the whole situation with IU, which I'll get into in a minute, is very, very dire. The coaching situation is terrible. And I would say Indiana is not fit nor prepared to be dealing with Purdue. They were fit enough playing at Mackey, which I'm really interested to see how this game's going to turn out in Bloomington. And I think it could really go really well for them, or it could really hurt them at the same time. But Indiana, either way, is still on the bubble, which I cannot believe we are. We're a good team. We could beat Purdue. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I want to hear more Kent Sterling being happy more than him being sad. So, and for those who are not curious, he hosts a show on WGCL in Bloomington, Indiana. Listen to it. It's on WGCL.com. Free promotional opportunity from me to promote Kent Sterling, one of the greatest to ever do it. Florida beat Oklahoma, no surprise. Florida, ranked number 2 in the country, probably is going to get one of the number 1 seeds along with 3 other SEC opponents, including Tennessee, Auburn, and Florida. They are all good. They are all really solid. Tennessee is not as solid as the 2, but Florida gets the win tonight over Oklahoma, 85-63. Mississippi State tonight made a huge upset, created a big upset tonight over number 7 Texas A&M and Buzz Williams, winning 70-54 at home. Colorado, as there are 6 games going on right now. Colorado is trailing number 8 Iowa, where I think Iowa's going to get the win tonight. Iowa is currently leading. Iowa State's going to be leading. My bad. Iowa State is leading 47-32 with 17 minutes, 8 seconds left in the second half. Texas Tech is losing right now to TCU 42-39 with 14:09 to go in the second half. Wisconsin and Illinois, that game just kick-started about a few minutes ago. Wisconsin is leading by 10, 31-21 with 6:37 in the first. Kansas, and let's just say Kansas, they need to get out of this ranking. I don't know why they're still in it. They are not playing as well. They're not playing good basketball. For some reason, it's just their whole team chemistry is just not there. They lost to Utah on Saturday, which was huge because that loss basically puts Kansas State on, or puts Kansas on the bubble. Kansas State's going to do really, really well. More on them in a minute. But Kansas does not look solid. And now BYU is taking a 10-point lead, 17-7 with 14:31 to go in the first half. And BYU is just running Kansas down this floor. Houston is at number 5 in the country, and they are leading Arizona State 10-5 with 15:33 to go in the first half. And finally, Marquette is playing Seton Hall, where they're leading by 2, 9-7 with 14:46 to go when that game had just started in the first half. Now, for the rest of the week in Division 1, before we provide some analysis, we got some big games to talk about. Vanderbilt and Kentucky. That game's going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern. These are all ranked games, by the way. Forgot to mention that. Kentucky's ranked 17th in the country. Alabama will be traveling to Missouri, and they will be playing tomorrow night at 9 p.m., where Alabama is most likely the favorite against Missouri. But we'll see how that game goes. And then one that is an absolute smash of win, beat them down type win, and that is St. John's playing DePaul. St. John's has been more than incredible. The documentary is airing tonight, which is why we're trying to keep the podcast recording a little bit short, which we already know what's going to happen. But I promise I'll talk to you guys for a while. That game's going to begin at 9 p.m. What Pitino's doing there is amazing. What they're doing there is awesome. I think this team, for the first time, will definitely win the Big East. But look out, knock on wood, that UConn will probably, maybe, could win the Big East in the tournament. But St. John's right now is looking really, really polished. They're one of the best teams ever Pitino has ever coached. And I absolutely love Pitino. I love that staff that he has over there. The Johnnies making New York proud for the first time in a long time. And we haven't seen anything like that in years. And so more on them in a minute. But I will just say that Rick Pitino is one of the best coaches out there. He's very polished. He should not have been fired. That's just my thing, is that he should not have been fired. And the Johnnies have an incredible opportunity to cap off an amazing season by winning the Big East outright. However, they will not win the Big East maybe in the tournament round because of the competition. Because of the competition that's there. And that's going to be wide and varied as the tournament goes on, but we'll wait and see on that. Auburn is going to host Arkansas, which should be an easy win. Calipari isn't looking great. His team isn't poised enough. I don't think his team is quick enough to deal with high-paced offenses, so I got Auburn winning that one. Big, big. Thursday, February 20th, Maryland's going to play USC. Maryland ranked number 20th in the country. They're looking better so far. They're looking really polished. But then the big game of the weekend, probably of the entire weekend, besides Marquette Villanova, is Michigan State and Michigan playing at Michigan on February 21st, on February 21st at 8 p.m., which will be this Friday. And then this Saturday, we got a lot of games to talk about, but we're not going to focus on those. We'll focus on those in a later episode. But yeah, let's just mention the first team that I was mentioning earlier. Oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. BYU is literally beating the crap out of Kansas right now. Beating the crap out of Kansas. It's 22-10. 22-10. Kansas stinks. They have not been doing very well from the field. Not even very well. I mean, look at this. Dejon Harris Jr. has 0 points in this game. Hunter Dickinson has 2. KJ Adams 2. Zeke Mayo 3. Flory Badunga 0. AJ Storr, their leading scorer at 1 point besides Hunter Dickinson. This team was supposed to be ranked higher than this by now. They even had them as national champs. But they both have 0 points, and Riley Griffin has 3 points. So their more dynamic big men are not playing as well as the others on this team. It's incredible given that Kansas was ranked so high at the start of the year, but they're going to fall off a cliff here pretty soon, and they may not win in March either. That's just what I'm thinking as well. And yeah, this lead's just growing by the minute as we're talking. At this moment we're talking, Kansas just does not fit the perfect NCAA tournament role for me. And I think they will probably lose the Big 12. But if they can somehow turn this around, it would be amazing. Utah did an incredible job at keeping and running the pace. But BYU's going to make the tournament this year for sure. It's going to be a toss-up, though, when you actually do consider later on the implications of everything. Kansas is absolutely getting their butts throttled tonight, and they are not looking very, very well. They haven't for most of the season, and it's not like their schedule is going to get any easier either. Actually, yeah, I'm right. Because they got Oklahoma State next, and if they don't win against Oklahoma State, then you're in a world of trouble. And here's the thing, they're at BYU tonight, which might contribute to a part of their losing. But they'll be at Colorado. That could be an upset game on Monday, February 24th at 11. And then the rest of the way, they have 3 ranked teams, including Texas Tech, Houston, and Arizona. 3 of which, as I said, will make it all the way to the Big 12 tournament. And the eventual champion will probably be Houston, but I don't want to make that assumption right now. They had just transitioned to, and it's amazing how Kelvin Sampson has turned that team around. But Kansas has got to turn something around before things get even ugly over there. And I think it might lead to Bill Self's retirement. Let's just point that out there. The next team I wanted to talk about was St. John's, and boy, like we mentioned at the top of the show, Rick Pitino is one of the best coaches out there. His documentary is about to air tonight. I had a big conversation with Kurt Signetti earlier today. I think they might need to do the same thing with Rick Pitino if he can land them in Elite 8 position, because that's where it's at right now. St. John's is so good. They can run up the floor. They can shoot the ball. They can absolutely dig in deep. There was a quote by Rick Pitino that I might play here in a minute where his halftime speech was incredible to his guys when they played Providence a few months ago. And to be honest, he's a real motivator, a really big, really tough motivator. If you listen to this, you'll really see why. And you've probably seen it on Twitter before, but I just wanted to bring this up.
Dig in and be a basketball player. Dig in. Every time you miss a shot, your game deflates. We don't care about your missed shots. Play defense. You guys keep blowing opportunity upon opportunity upon opportunity. You're like children with bad things happening. Instead of digging in and be tougher, you wilt. Where is your toughness? Where have you guys been raised that you're so weak mentally that you just give up when something doesn't go right for you? Don't you know what adversity is all about? That's the game of life, not the game of basketball. You don't get down when things go wrong. You dig in and get tougher. Your whole life's going to be adversity. Learn how to deal with it.
Patino, Red Storm Rising, Tuesdays at 10 on Vice.
This poise we need from all Gen Z. We need all of this from Gen Z. I think it's a speech we all needed to hear, because I think at times we don't ever put ourselves out there too much. We don't ask questions. We don't really want to learn. I mean, someone who is Gen Z, I can tell you straight up that I don't think that we are a generation that truly and completely wants to learn sometimes, or even ask questions, because we think, oh, we have it all made. We have it all successful. We don't need your help. Well, that's just how we think. And it's just that we've been beaten down by life. And if anything overwhelms us, then we're going to shut her down, and we're going to hide in a cocoon and basically panic or not respond to it as well as other older generations could. I had a conversation about this with mom, and I told her, about the whole thing with Rick Pitino and St. John's, and how, as I said, he's pumping up his players so much, and you don't even see that today. It's not like he's one of the last old school coaches out there, and you're never going to get this product again. You never will, so we better embrace it. Long were the days of Knight throwing the chair and everything. But again, he doesn't come across off an abusive approach, as he is crooked and a really big narcissist. Let's just put that out there. Rick Pitino is a really big narcissist. We all know that. We all can characterize on that, and we all know that. But here's the thing. Rick Pitino knows how to coach a basketball team to win. He's coached multiple national championship teams, even if they were vacated. And pray to God, knock on wood, that it doesn't happen again for the Johnnies. Because they've been in a similar situation before. And so Pitino can really lead a group of men. And not only that, you gotta credit his players too. All of his guys are playing so well. I saw their game against UConn. And it was must-watch television for the fact that the Johnnies at the end were trying to come back, rally the troops up, and Pitino really knew how to do that. Really shocked UConn in their home crowd when they could have and should have won that game. No credit, though, to Dan Hurley. He's good and everything, but, it really is a process with the Johnnies, and I think they're doing really, really well this season. The other team I wanted to talk about, like I said, Texas A&M, an inspirational team. They're very inspirational. They are one of the more better coaches who I thought was a great journalism major. I might play that clip too, if I can find it. It's incredible what Texas A&M could do. This loss tonight's going to change a lot of things, but it might not change them, as A&M is most likely to maybe win and go to the Sweet 16, which hasn't happened since even last season and 2 seasons ago when they played Penn State. That wasn't something that was really on their radar, to upset Alabama in the Elite Eight. That's kind of how I have it. But, again, Texas A&M is a different animal compared to most of the people they're dealing with at the SEC. Let me read these standings off to you right now. And tell me, these teams, like I said, these teams are not only incredible, this is the best the Southeastern Conference has ever been in basketball. Every team I'll name is ranked. Auburn, Alabama. Auburn's at 23-2, and we saw that great number 1, number 2 matchup on Saturday. It was incredible. Auburn at 23-2, they're number 1 in the country. Alabama at 21-4, they're also ranked. Florida's ranked number 2 in the country with a 23-3 record. Texas A&M 20-6. Missouri 19-6. Tennessee 21-5. Ole Miss 19-7. Mississippi State 19-7. Kentucky 17-8. Vanderbilt 17-8. And out of all these teams I've read to you right now, if one of these teams, these 10 teams, if one of these 10 teams decide to go all the way and win the SEC, this is anyone's. This is anyone's cash. This is anyone's. I'm not joking around here. Please watch out for teams like Arkansas, Georgia, maybe LSU, because they could make deep runs. But in my opinion, this is the most loaded. Like, talk about a bunch of loaded cheese, bacon, and mozzarella. Then you add some jalapenos on there. That's how this feels. It's so scattered out with great teams all throughout the SEC. I'm not joking. This is the greatest conference right now in all of college basketball. Not gonna lie, this has a powerhouse ranking to it. And many people I've heard, it's even an Eye on College Basketball field of 68, they've all said the same thing. The SEC is more than loaded. But that the one team that's got the most guns and ammo to them is Auburn. 100%. Auburn is playing like they are a bunch of grown men out there. It is incredible seeing how they are. Incredible. Janai Broome, one of the best freaking players I've seen on that team since Barkley. Okay, it's insane how this team is so good right now. Them, along with Florida, with the big win tonight, Florida is up there too as a heavy contender. I'm very interested to watch this SEC tournament because if nothing doesn't go their way, something will pop up in the middle and maybe a team like Kentucky will win or Vandy will win or Ole Miss will win with Chris Beard and company. It's just anyone's ball game. It is literally anyone's ball game. Anything can happen in the matter of just a split second. And all these teams will be scrambling to find answers in March. But not so much Auburn. They are in. They are in. 100%. 100% they are in. And Auburn has one of the single best teams of all time right now. And if we want to talk about that being a really good conference, it's unquestionably the best. And it might be a situation where Auburn may be a great national championship pick. If they weren't a good national championship pick, what are you talking about? They lost to Yale last year in the third round of the tournament and could not recover for a while, and then came back this season and is putting on what I think is a national championship run. Natty is written all over the Auburn Tigers. They're written all over the city of Auburn, Alabama. So that city, that town, is going to unite with their team as they've been ever since that team's been around. And Auburn is not just great, they're powerful. They're strong. They have the big men and the big force on the D-line to really do a good job. The defense is really, really, really good. And the offense is even more special. But I will say this. The one thing that's going to screw Auburn up is if and only if they play a really hard opponent in the Elite Eight. Someone like a Clemson or something that really wants to pull off an upset. But that's going to be a little bit concerning for me, but we're not really concerned about that right now. And I think Auburn's going to probably win the national championship regardless of what happens. Another team that I think they're on the bubble now. They were my favorite to go all the way to the national title and maybe win, Purdue. Purdue, and I don't like saying the P word, which I just mentioned. I need to ask God for forgiveness after I say this, because we play them on Sunday, next Sunday, February 23rd, we play the Purdue Boilermakers. And there I go, I said it again. Jeez, Lord forgive me. So, the Big Ten is loaded. Michigan State, Wisconsin, Purdue, everybody's loaded. But the thing that really, like I mentioned earlier with Purdue, is that they could go into Assembly Hall and just beat everybody up. That's probably going to be how it is. Indiana is on the cusp of losing their spot. They are 2 spots away now. Two from not reaching the Big Ten tournament. 3 spots maybe. You would not have dreamt of this a few months ago. You probably wouldn't have dreamt about this for a long time. And to be quite honest with you, every day has felt like a patience test with this team. Every day has felt like a patience test with Mike Woodson and company. And at this point, with Brad Stevens not at the helm of the Indiana Hoosiers, I think it's bound to go for someone that's more Indiana or national related. And my favorite pick for this spot could be the Drake coach. And the Drake coach is an unbelievable coach for a team that runs so little offense. Ben McCollum is probably the best fit for the team's fundamentals, but we will see. At least this is a coaching hire that, and for all you fans listening, to the very limited people that do listen to the podcast, which I thank you for following me, and I thank you for helping me grow to where I am now. We've had a 3.7 star review before, and I get the podcasts are not very well made, and I apologize about that. Love me or hate me, I'm doing the best I can. But please just let Dolson and Witten do their job. Please. Please. Just let them do their job. I cannot understand how people can't let these higher-ups do their job, because it's just going to make the process a lot worse and not better. And I will tell you this. When Tom Allen got fired from IU, that was not an easy coaching decision. It's an $8 million decision. There's a lot of money on the line here. There's a lot at stake. There's a lot on the line for not just this team, but also for our future. We could be making the wrong choice, and it will probably not work. But if we make the right choice with the right guy, even they were kind of hinting about this on the Fox broadcast 3 weeks ago when St. John's played UConn, and they said Rick Pitino's going to own the Big Ten. I'm like, the Big Ten? Are you serious? If he decides to leave St. John's for Indiana, do you get how historic that would be? Do you get how historic it would be for like TJ Ossenberger to even make it to the league also? Because these men are not directly affiliated with Indiana, but have played in the patriarchs and higher-ups of college basketball and have dealt with it all, have seen it all, and have been through it all. So it's about not having someone from Indiana, but having somebody from Indiana that has even more experience. We've lost that with Dusty May. Is it about having a coach that is from Indiana but hasn't coached college basketball in about 20 years and wants to get back into the game? No, we lost that. We lost that with Brad Stevens. But now, this is where it gets tricky for both Pamela Witten, the president of Indiana University, and Scott Dolson, the AD, is what in the living world are we going to do now? We've lost 2 of our big coaching hires that we always wanted. We could have had the opportunity to hire Dusty May last year. This could be a break decision and not a make decision. Not make it to the NCAA tournament. Not to make it to any of the finals. Even if the NCAA tournament has expanded to 72 or whatever teams. And I'll get to that in a minute. But that really pees me off. Various things do right now, including that. But if it wasn't going to be that, then what in the world is it going to be for this team? I think we kind of have the answer to that. But we're looking for it. This could be months in the making. But they promised we might get a coach. And I think it's best and fit for everybody to stay chill and calm down. Do not protest this decision. They are listening. They're not just listening. They are hearing your prayers. They are knowing what Indiana needs and what the need is to bring this program back to life. And just keep in mind, ride with Mike Woodson just for another month. Just for another month. And then after that, all ships have sailed on that venture. And I will tell you, Woodson will probably be an offensive coordinator somewhere, maybe a defensive coordinator somewhere, maybe somebody that works for maybe some agency, maybe runs a YouTube channel. He could do a lot of things. But from what he was able to do by bringing big recruits into Bloomington was big enough for everybody. And it's sad to watch this team that was once so historic, so promising, and I pay a lot of money to go to this school. I expect a lot better basketball, but we're not getting that right now. And I'm hoping we can find something later that can help not just us, but the entire Indiana community. So it's about time to hire a new coach, and it won't be Brad Stevens. All right, and we just got to the 30-minute Division I talk presented by Amazon Music. Thousands of the podcasts are made every day with big music by Sabrina Carpenter and music by 50 Cent. Amazon Music is the right taste for music, podcasts, and other audio productions for you. Not only is this discount that I'm offering today free, we are also making it offer to make it where you can have $5 off your first purchase on Amazon Music. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow the link below and enter the promo code seen in the description. Amazon Music is the site where you need to go to listen to music, podcasts, or anything else audio related while you keep bopping the whole night through. And now coming up next, we're going to be talking about Division II basketball, a little bit of the major conferences, but first we're going to get to the main discussion of the week around college basketball, and that is, can we expand this team format from 72 teams to 76, or 64 teams to 76 teams, which sounds crazy in my opinion. We'll be back right after this.